I've got a new question for you guys. Why do you think guys no longer want to get married? Here's what I think. I think MGTOW men have allowed themselves to be influenced by social media into believing that all women are feminists or feminazis. But in real life, you can tell people what you're looking for and what it is that you want. There are women out there that are looking for something that could be very much alike to what you're looking for. Maybe you've been hanging out with shallow or greedy people, and well, maybe that's on you and what you've been putting out there. But I think women don't reflect what the media says about them. And neither should you. Now, what's your opinion?
Nobody cares what you think.
Well, that's a stupid question. Not because of the question itself, but because of your ignorance towards the answer. We have been telling you why we're not exactly thrilled over getting married for at least a decade. It's not the fear that women are feminists. We can spot those a mile away. The asinine hair coloring and the obscenely irresponsible number of tattoos are dead giveaways. The reason why we shy away from the bureaucratic institution of marriage is because it's damn near impossible to tell who's a good woman from a psycho hose beast. Men aren't willing to put up everything they've built only to lose it in divorce court to a woman who's going to use the child support payments to treat her body like an unsanitary Jackson Pollock painting. Men have tens of thousands of hours worth of videos documenting this, but you are so lazy to do any basic research that you're just gonna blame the very thing that corrupted your soul in the first place.
Great plan.
Thank you.
He likes your plan, Chief.
Simps are hot.
I agree, frat boy Jim Bob. Well, of course I agree, because that's my comment. But here's the thing you need to understand about simps. These sexy, intelligent male partners are not just catering to women. They're not pretending to be what women want. Those are what we call false feminists, otherwise known as nice guys. A true simp knows himself very well, and he does not cater to other men.
What's that, shit? It's a shit smell. Is that you? Smells like pop-pop.
Ah, dear, you poor, lonely little undiagnosed case of herpes. You have no idea what can of worms you just opened, lady. Here's the thing, sweetheart. The types of men you're trolling used to be simps. And I gotta tell you, sister, former simps know themselves extremely well. And the only men for which they'll cater are to themselves. And we all know that you don't find simps attractive or desirable, let alone sexy. Simps reduce themselves to doormats to try to gain your affection. You know this. That's why you knowingly exploit simps to lug around your copious amounts of baggage while you avoid anything that could remotely resemble affection. A true simp denies the basic reality around him and allows the woman he desires to disrespect him and use him while receiving virtually nothing in return except constant reminders that he's stuck in the friend zone. The only reason why you're holding simps in high regard is because you've done run out of them and you're desperately fishing for more.
A simp is not worried about impressing other men. He stands tall in his own shoes no matter what height he is. He's not worried about how much money he makes as long as he can take care of the people he loves. And he cares about loving those people in ways other than being a wallet. And a man who sees himself as more than a wallet is not resentful in thinking that women see him as only a wallet. Because he knows who he is. He knows he's more than that.
We do have this money.
So in other words, you love simps because they do things that Tyrone Crockett and Rico Chads won't, which basically means they'll give you money and listen to you prattle on about how they won't commit to you. You're trying to convince simps that there's no shame in spending money on you, even though you're much like what you have to offer Miami's greatest duo, a bottomless, slime-covered pit of desperate hopelessness. The only difference is that the detectives get to play in that pit, and the simps just get to throw their cash in as if it's some kind of a wishing well. A musty, foul-smelling wishing well. Former simps have no money for you because spending it on you would be a waste, and we have better things to waste our money on than human waste such as yourself. And if we're gonna waste our money, we'd rather waste it on video games and Neil Breen movies.
No, that is not true.
A simp is emotionally intelligent, in tune with his nervous system, and he is not afraid to give another man a hug. But you know the most exciting thing about a simp? He understands female anatomy.
Nice try.
God, woman, Please, you're just embarrassing yourself now. Just because you have clearly zero respect for yourself doesn't mean you'll sleep with the men you don't respect. You don't allow simps to touch you, let alone prove they have any anatomical knowledge of you. At no point in your miserable excuse for a life have you ever reduced yourself to sleeping with a simp, so don't even try to prove otherwise. The whole point of having simps around is to lead them on with the possibility of bedroom fun. That's where your power over them comes from, but you will never give it up because you always have better options. You're just trying to manipulate lonely men into leaving comments on this god-awful post of yours so you can get a dopamine hit of validation. Yes, your life truly is that empty, but the rest of us know better. We know your value. We know it better than you do, and that value is...
nothing! Absolutely nothing! Stupid! You're so stupid!
Please don't catcall me unless you're attractive. Unless you're a 7, 8, 9, or 10. If you're a 10, you're probably not catcalling. But don't do it. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that unless you're sexy.
I can see behind your shirt!
Okay, the catcalling myth has been thoroughly debunked. You've clearly established that you have no problem with catcalling. It's the caliber of men that are doing said catcalling. You are totally cool with them objectifying you in the same manner with which you clearly objectify yourself by having your, only assets of value on full display for the internet to witness. But here's the problem with your gibberish. How can you tell when men are catcalling you when you're wearing massive headphones while jogging? Are you seriously going out there in full makeup and jewelry, running around the streets of a busy metropolitan city, half naked, pretending to be listening to music, and documenting the kinds of men who are making commentary about the way you dress? Newsflash, woman, nobody cares. Your unwarranted judgment of men and your fading looks are all we need to know that you're profoundly unattractive, and there isn't enough bouncy in the world that's ever gonna change that.
We'll put some clothes on.
Not worth the risk. That sentence right there. That's why women usually pick the bear, because it's not worth the risk. Now, in this scenario, the risk for you is being labeled a creep. Being labeled a creep, okay? That's your biggest risk. Do you know what a woman's biggest risk is?
No, and I don't care.
It's a lot worse. You can use your imagination, or you can watch some true crime documentaries, you know, learn about serial
Whoa.
Okie dokie, there's a lot to unpack here. You would rather face guaranteed unleashing of the mortal coil via a bear attack, which is an incredibly violent, painful, and demeaning way to go, considering that nobody will most likely find your remains for weeks, months, or potentially years after your expiration, than actually go out on a date with a man, and you're basing this off of binge-watching true crime documentaries, which oftentimes take liberties taken for dramatic effect. You know what those are, because your unnecessarily long pauses are a living testament to that. And it's not just the label of being creepy. Men are always one false allegation away from complete and total ruination, and that has extreme consequences up to and including the giving up of the proverbial ghost. So when we say it's not worth the risk, it means that our lives and reputations are more important than listening to you pretend to be a crime expert because you binge watch Netflix when you're not fantasizing about being a grizzly bear's next bowel movement.
You know, stuff like that. But think about what you're saying. You're saying you're never going to help another woman in your life. You'll never, if a woman is on the side of the road, you will not help, because it's not worth the risk of you being labeled a creep. That's your biggest risk. Most of the time when someone does assault a woman, even when they do it and there's proof and evidence, it is so hard to get a prosecution, let alone a conviction.
You! I will think of you as I throw up into the toilet.
Are you freaking kidding me? On what evidence is this being based? I have countless examples of women who falsely accuse men of, shall we say, inappropriate conduct for a myriad of reasons, including boredom, attention seeking, payback for not sleeping with them, regret for sleeping with them, and my personal favorite, he thought it would just be a funny prank, bro. And since we live in a world where all women are believed and they're just innocent cherub victims every single time, the men were severely punished with very little evidence needed outside of the woman's testimony. And even if these false claims are easily debunked, that man's life is still forever tarnished even if the case is thrown out of the courtroom. Meanwhile, the woman who ruined this man's life will get a slap on the wrist, and that's if the court even bothers to punish her at all. And if a man gets assaulted by a woman, he is laughed at in both the judicial court and the court of public opinion. You have zero examples to back up your absurd claim because you identify as a victim and then proceed that your imaginary court case is somehow factual.
So even just someone saying, oh, he was creepy, the chances of that affecting your life are pretty small compared to if you were a woman in the woods alone and came across a man. We don't know which ones are good. We don't know which ones are bad. So we err on the side of caution. It's not worth the risk in this made-up scenario. We choose the bear because it's not worth the risk. It's the same thing, except you don't want to be labeled a creep. We don't want to be raped and killed.
You must seek therapy. That's where I would go with that, but that's my own.
Wow, lady, you have absolutely no idea how insane you sound right now. You really need to listen to yourself. You're saying that you would rather risk being mauled by a grizzly than risk going out on a date with a self-respecting man because you believe that all men are violent psychopaths. And all of this stems from us calling you out for rigging the game of human pair bonding. Heads you win, tails we lose. You demanded that we leave you alone, so we did, and now you're so angry at us for listening to you that you're straight up accusing us of the most violent of crimes without so much as a shred of evidence that doesn't come from some Netflix show you watched and some random unverified post on Reddit. Well, it's not gonna work, sister. We're done playing this game. So go put your money where your mouth is and go play with the bears and see if we care. Because frankly, my dear, none of us could really give a damn anymore. And that is going to do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Maybe ring the notification bell. Go ahead and leave a couple of comments. Share this video. Let's get the word out and give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Keep on shining on, you gloriously crazy diamonds. And until next time, peace out, homies.